And moving on swiftly ahead of our main discussion this morning, senators are now seeking to calm the nerves of the governors after the fierce controversy over the new bill that aims to create county development boards. But in Tana River County, the bill yesterday triggered an ugly standoff between the senator and the governors. KTNZ and Wafula now reports.
The battle continues between governors and senators over the bill seeking to amend the County Governments Act. There was drama at a function in Tana River County after the county governor and the senator clashed in public in what was seen as a supremacy battle triggered partly by the now controversial bill before the Senate.
Governor, wewe umelala hata karani hufanyi. Ulikuwa unakataa kwa karani.
Senate ilipopata nguvu kidogo, sasa wanataka kuja kufanyia sisi kazi yetu hapa. Sisi governors tunasema hiyo mambo ya County Development Board ni upuzi.
The bill proposes a 14-member board which will consist of the senator, elected MPs in the county, governor, deputy governor, county speakers, leaders of majority and minority parties in the assembly. But in Nairobi, Senate Majority Leader Kindiki Kithure, together with other senators, played down the controversy over the bill, urging governors to accept the bill.
There is no forum for coordination of those initiatives, and that presents a real risk of devolution chaos in this country.
If the bill is passed, the board will be chaired by the senator, while the women's representative will be the vice chair. The secretary's position will be taken by the governor. Ian Wafula, KTN.
Thank you very much, Ian. It is indeed time for our discussion this morning. And before I introduce you to my guest, reminder of our big question or our question of the day today. We are asking you whether you support the push to give more powers to the senators in the management of counties. Because in essence, that particular bill will give them more power. So do you support such a push? And we want to put this debate, this conversation into perspective for you. And this morning I'm joined in studio by Kipchumba Murkomen, who's Senator Elgeyo Marakwet, as well as Ambrose Weda, who's a lawyer. Thank you both, gentlemen, for taking time to join us this morning. And we've been seeing a lot of back and forth between the leaders, more so the senators and the governors, just weighing in on this bill. Let's perhaps begin by informing one who may not have an understanding of what is this even about. Tell us about this bill.
First of all, I think there is a misunderstanding out there.
We'll get to the misunderstanding and the misconception.
Absolutely, because I don't know which bill these people are debating in public.
Okay.
I get the sense that there are two different bills.
Okay.
The one that is in the minds of the people who are, making certain discussions, and the one that which was published.
Okay. Which one was published?
The bill. First of all, even the question you're asking about whether senators want to manage counties, that's not a right. It's not a management bill. This is a bill that there is already forums in from Article 109 to 111 of the County Government Act 2012.
Right.
And so what the bill does is to create a forum for leaders at the county level for purpose of harmonization of development initiatives, for purpose of harmonization of budgeting process,
which
and
is
for purpose
you're managing now the funds.
Just let me explain to you, and finally for purpose of management of the development plans. The objective here is to avoid a situation where the member of National Assembly through CDF will have a parallel allocation of resources to certain projects, that national government funds which are allocated by Parliament are going to have development in parallel to what is being done by county government. So that there, honestly, that forum is just a peer review forum for leaders. No decision will be made in terms of saying that you must interfering within the other function. It does not interfere with county assemblies' responsibility to legislate and pass budgets. It does not interfere with the Senate's responsibility to oversee counties. It doesn't interfere with National Assembly responsibilities to allocate resources at national level, and it doesn't interfere with governors' powers to run the county. The objective, and if you see what majority leader said of Senate, the question of senator being a chair is trivial, it's unnecessary. It's not even, it's not cast in stone. It doesn't have to be chaired by a senator. But the objective here is to avoid, one, a situation where leaders will be fighting over the county.
Right.
If you saw in some counties recently, you will see that the members of National Assembly are protesting, organizing protests against the governor. The other day that happened in Nairobi, and when we asked the governor of Nairobi why is it that you are not getting the support of National Assembly members, we actually asked, did you have a meeting with them? He said there is no legal framework for us to meet together and agree on certain things. So we wanted to avoid that too. We wanted to avoid situations where, as a result of clanism and ethnic minorities in counties, they will feel less represented in development process in the county. You've seen this in places where clans, have a say in terms of running the county affairs vis-a-vis the others.
Right.
If the MP comes in, you will not be able to go to the ground and tell his clan that the other clan which is in power is whatever, because there is a framework for consultation. So it is a consultative framework. It is bringing together leaders and avoid situations where there will be tug of war among them. The question,
so it's simply consultative,
absolutely,
no decision making, no powers being amassed by the senators,
absolutely
no
zero.
usurping of governors' powers.
In fact, the senator now has a responsibility to tell his peers in that development forum what he's doing on behalf of the county and national level. And they will be able to tell themselves, okay, Senator, this is what we want you to continue pushing for us while the National Assembly does this. The argument here is just basically coordination.
Coordination.
Yeah.
Let's bring in Lawyer Weda.
Yes.
You've heard what the Senator had to say,
yes,
and of course you've heard the other arguments that are being made, yes, out there by the various groups. What are your thoughts?
Sophia, I have had the advantage of looking at the county government amendment number 2
yes,
bill. I've looked at it.
Yes.
And I'm still positive because it is still a bill. But if it was to be passed into law, that would be one of the biggest disasters that our senators would have committed. I've heard what the Senator Murkomen is saying. He is saying something which is not in that bill. That bill would be, we used to have in the Soviet Union what they used to call Politburo. I think they want to create Devburo with the senator as the Lord, the high priest on top. The bill wants to constitute some concoction where you take the senator, you take the majority leader, you take the governor, you take everybody, and you put them together in one pot. Then the senator boils, oblivious of the constitutional provision of separation of powers. People have powers that are separated. One, the senators and the parliamentarians, the National Assembly members, have only 3 roles, very wide. Representation, oversight, and legislation. The executive and the governor and this executive committee are actually the workers. They work while Murkomen will check. We give you the money, go and work. Now what they are saying with this bill, they want to say, look, we'll give you the money, but as you work, we want to be in it. For instance, they say before you present the budget, the county budget to the assembly, it has to go through this Devburo they want to create.
The boards.
The development committee, the development board, this board, this is what I call the Devburo, where they are in charge. You have to bring it before us. Before you do any planning, you have to bring it before us. And the underlying reason is, if you look at the government structure, the national structure, it is only the senators who do not have some money to spend. The MP has the CDF, which is buzzing around. The governor has his billions. The only person missing out is the senator. So what does the senator do? He says, let us decide somewhere where they'll pass through us.
So we have
and it is arranged in such a way that now the senator becomes the boss. How do you, when you are chairman and the governor is the secretary? Yes, the governor sold a manifesto. He was told, you will be the chief executive officer of this country. Well, by the time you finish your 5 years, you want to show us what you have done. Then he has to go through the senator, who is supposed to be the prefect. Not the cook in the kitchen, but the supervisor after the work is finished.
But he argues that the place of them being chair...
I don't know actually what he's discussing.
No, he's saying that at the end of the day, you don't have funds and you're looking for some funds to manage.
Sophie, those are propaganda. I mean, I told you, and I expected that today we were coming to discuss the bill.
And we will. This is part of discussing and part of helping
that's true.
our viewers
I'm just saying
understand what
that
this
we
argument
first focus on the bill. When we want to do the campaigns of trying to paint the other side look bad, that's okay. But for now, let's discuss the merits of the bill. The merits of the bill were created with good intentions. It was proposed by governors initially. The objective was that we want to avoid a duplication of allocation of resources. We were given a story in a certain county where the MP put 1.5 million in a particular road, and then the governor, when he came in, said that this road also is putting 8 million. And the 1.5 that the MP had put there under CDF, he said that this money is going to be enough. You have counties where we have put bursary fund. The bursary fund for the county itself, education bursary fund, and the counties and the CDF as a bursary fund. Now you get a situation where the governor does not know how much money is the Senate, is the MP giving to a particular group, and so forth. There is no place where they are going to communicate. We are creating a forum where, first of all, it doesn't have even management. It doesn't have even anybody. The whole structure of management is the governor. The person who
but the governor is a secretary, and all these checks you're creating for the county assembly.
The reason why, that's why I'm saying the reason, absolutely. But even then in that board, it is not to bring to us for final approval. It says that you bring to us, we will discuss together, we will harmonize. You take it to county assembly. You have constitutional powers at the county assembly. You can vary it. But when you are varying, you know that, wait a minute, we are putting money in this road, but the national government has already put money in X road. So it gives you the more knowledge, the benefit. The senator, let me be very candid here. As a Senate, when we came to office, we said that we want to conduct ourselves in a very civilized manner. You never saw any senator, for example, clamoring around that we want more salary. You never saw a senator, for example, saying we want CDF. We were very clear, in fact, that legislators should not handle money. You've never seen senators saying we want to be involved in management. The reason why we put a senator as a chair in that bill, and I think the wisdom that informed Senator Sang in putting that, is because in other boards across the country, the chair is non-executive. This is a meeting. They meet only 4 times in a year. And in that meeting for 4 times in a year is to facilitate a forum of discussion and engagement. Nobody opposes the forum, by the way. The only concern about governors is who chairs. And as I said, that is trivial. We can change.
So are you willing to change?
Oh, of course. We can even say there is no chair. We can say leaders to meet, you convene a meeting, and when you there, you elect the chair of that particular forum. Maybe that day the governor is not around, you pick even the women rep to be the chair of the county assembly speaker. The idea is for us to converse face to face. We hate the fact that a senator, because he comes from another political party from the governor, he's running around mobilizing people against the development that the governor is going to do. The main objective, and as a chair of devolved government committee, my main objective in supporting this bill was basically to save counties from the chaos of disjointed development, so that all of us can work as a team after elections, forgetting our political parties, forgetting the position we were elected to, and ensure that the county itself works. And then all of us will have a synergy. You have a place. Where does the senator get to report to the leadership of the local level? How do they link up together to the issues that are happening at the national level? In fact, the next bill that I'm going to bring is to create a network between the senator and the county assembly, so that the county assembly can summon the senator maybe once in 4 months. You come and tell us what have you been doing for the last 4 months, and how can we link that at national level. So I don't know. I really feel like the questions of power is irrelevant, because even when we were elected to office, power was put in the back, because chapter 6 talks about leadership, to be the servant of the people. We've never, even if you put the senator as the one that ushers people on the door to come to the room, I have no problem with that. The ultimate objective, I think, is that we sit together in a round table and get to know what the right hand is doing and what the left hand is doing.
To see what the right hand is doing and what the left hand is doing. It's a consultative forum. It doesn't matter who the chairperson is. What are your thoughts now?
Now, Sophia, let me tell you, we have a constitution. That constitution has spelled out powers, roles, what people are supposed to do.
Yes.
The senators, first they're supposed to deal with the legislation that protect the counties. The counties report to them. Their next role is to wait for the president and the deputy president to misbehave, so that they deal with the process of removing the 2 of them. Now they have brought a bill that extends their role they say we want to coordinate issues of development.
Yes. What is so bad about them doing that?
What is so bad about them doing that is that that is not their role. Do you
Whose
understand?
role is it? Since there is no, as
The
you said,
role-
there is right now no forum where they can all sit, bring their thoughts together and ensure everybody knows what everybody
Now
else is
that
doing.
role, that forum is not supposed to be there in the first place.
Right.
Do you understand?
Why?
Why that role is not supposed to be there is one part, the executive, like the executive committee of the county, like the executive at the national level, they are given a mandate which they need time and freedom to exercise. Once they finish, okay, then the National Assembly or Parliament looks at what they have done. They say, this we will not allow, this we will legislate against, this we will. Now, you cannot do oversight role when the decisions I take and I implement, we implement together. When I do a development plan and you approve it, when it backfires, you cannot question me because we were together. So the Senate and even Parliament are supposed to wait for the President and his executive to do certain things. Then they do the oversight. They represent the people. Now, when you do a forum, you make a forum where now everything is discussed together, agreed together. Who will be acting on behalf of the people?
And what parallels can we draw from what works, what we've always had in the past at the national level?
Yeah,
because this is a government now at the
Yes,
county level. What
absolutely.
parallels can we draw? How does it work at the national level?
Absolutely, that's a good question. At the national level, the president, the party is able to bring together the leadership. The president and the party in parliament are able to sit down together and make a decision. By the time they're bringing it to parliament, they have already agreed. Because we want to avoid a situation where party lines are going to be done at the county level, because in most cases you'll have a senator from another party, a governor from another party, 2 MPs from another party, and others from another party. We want to avoid party lines so that this becomes more consultative. I don't know, you know, basically, I know where the
But his question is, where will this oversight really come in? If you're all sitting down, you all agree,
exactly.
you all do. So who will hold the other into account if you'll all argue? But didn't we all sit and agree?
No, we don't even have to agree. You may not even have to agree with the plan of the governor or the plan of the MP. The idea here is to harmonize, to be on the know, to exchange information, so that no one is speaking out of ignorance, to know what's happening from one side to the other. After that, your oversight is, oversight is about how our resources have been used. If the money, if Parliament has, for example, passed a particular, you've agreed at the national level, we in Jubilee sit down with the President, finish, we come and pass it. If they, for example, the ministers go to misuse that money, does that stop us from saying that we are oversighting? Agreeing on good things does not mean that when they become bad in the implementation, you cannot be able to take oversight function. In fact, the reason of the forum is to strengthen the ability of the senator and the National Assembly members and county assembly members to provide the necessary oversight and to be able to educate the public as to what's happening so that we can have harmonized development. The other beneficiaries of this process, apart from the governors, is the county assembly members. The county assembly members at the moment have no any say so much in ways of fund, for example, or CDF, for example, or what happens in Parliament, for example. This is the only forum they will come and listen and say, oh, okay, our county is getting 1, 2, 3 benefits from the budget of national government at this particular time. Right. Therefore, as we deal with our budget and our plans, we need to do this. The person who brings information about planning at the national level is the MP, because he's the one that is approving all the plans of the national government. Then they bring it to the table and say, we approved this, now in our county we can harmonize like this. It is actually, it's been blown out of proportion because of the chairmanship.
The chairman of the Commission of the Implementation of the Constitution is against this move. Yeah. He says it's unconstitutional. Yeah. It's barely a year since this government's, county governments came into place. Whether should this system have been allowed to work fast as is, we have the teething problems, see how it works before we start talking about changing the law to bring in, as what the senator is saying, forums to be able to consult and to be able to discuss what's going to be done at the
If that is the case, if that be the case, no, the question, if the question of changing law is not a problem, then let's stop all laws. Let's not remove transition authority. Let's not create a forum for financing for the counties, which they are asking us to do. If we want to just sit down and say, let the problems
even let it breathe, let it work as was envisioned by the drafters of the Constitution.
It was not drafters of Constitution, by the way, Sophie. Okay. This is a provision of a legislation, an act of Parliament. Right. You know, you look at, and as a member of the task force on devolved government, where we had provided the same in the same act. And it was even chaired by the senator at the county, by the MP at sub-county level. And then when it went to Parliament, the caucus of MPs who are actually ultimately later ran for governor say that this is wastage of money, disturbance and so forth. We don't want someone who is nosing around to see what we are doing at the local level and so forth. And they removed. But after we saw the fights that are going on in the counties, it became just a necessary.
All right, where they're coming
to now, let me tell you, even if the governors were to run Randy, the role of the Senate would be after. When they say we need more money, we need this, then the senators would say you misbehaved. But the senators are trying to create a forum in which they exercise executive authority. And that is why they say we want to create a forum where we should know. They are not supposed to know. The governors are supposed to work. They have a county government, county assembly that has the mandate to control the governor. Then when it comes now to the relation with at the national level, when they want national legislation that covers all the counties, then the Senate comes in. But what they are trying to say, let us allocate powers to us so that when they are doing planning, we chair. When they are doing their budget, we chair. When they are making development plans, we are there. Now, that will mean they have left the role that they're supposed to play. And that will create more chaos in my view. But and trying to create that is before the governor, even before the ice settles, it is hardly 6 months.
Yeah.
It's hardly 6 months. And the Senate has realized, oh, other than a few bills, because that's bill number 2, other than a few bills at the national level, we don't have much. So let us create a forum where we have some say on the money.
What in the event they're able to change the rules, as the senator has said, it's not really an issue of chairing. So what if the governor chairs?
If they created that forum, that forum would be unconstitutional.
Okay.
And the senators would have breached the constitution.
What if the governor is the chair of that board?
Even if the governor is the chair, that forum created by an act of parliament would be unconstitutional. It would be mixing up the roles.
Okay.
The governor is, I would say, a small president with his own parliament, with his own cabinet, with his own budget, power to legislate and tax. He is directly accountable to the people, the electorate of the county. And therefore, they look at him at every election. In the same way the head of state, President Uhuru, has his cabinet, he has his mandate for 5 years. Now that mandate he is supposed to exercise freely. If you are to make a forum where the governor has to report to you, he has to come to you, then you will be usurping, you will be going against the constitutional separation of various powers.
Right. Senator, I want you to first address an issue, what happened in Bomet. Even the people on the ground, as you're trying to talk about this and sell it to the people and make them understand that this is a good thing, it will in essence work for your benefit. They did not receive that well. There was bullying
before even you come to the Bomet incident, I think it's unfair to imagine that any of us have powers that cannot have checks and balance. It's a lie to say we are directed just accountable to people and not under institutions. The bicameral legislature, for example, account to each other, National Assembly and Senate, checks and balance. The county assembly checks the county executive. The Senate oversights the county governments. They are all centers of checks and balance. The county governments as a whole checks the national government. Yeah, there is a system of checks and balances. The president is not just accountable to the people directly; he's also accountable to Parliament, and he's also, in a way, accountable to the counties. This system of checks and balances was such that we focus more on who is the servant, not who is more powerful. Okay. When you come to I really don't like discussing things that are meant from hearsay. You know, basically, I was in Bomet. I raised the same issue. It was a conglomeration of issues. My friends who are county executive members who are sitting behind me said, no, we don't agree. And I don't think that was basically a good way of, if a governor or a county executive member or a county assembly member shouts over another leader. I don't think it's the kind of process we wanted to go through. And I really have maximum respect for them, and I don't want to discuss them in their absence. But just to say that if every time, and this is the other problem, every time we create a legislative process that will enhance accountability among ourselves, if every time that is unconstitutional or that is anti-devolution, then we will not be able to do anything, because the objective here is to check each other. We are supposed to be peers. We're supposed to talk together. I can tell you for sure, I can mention as many counties, which I don't want to mention now, whereby the leaders have never met since elections. You know, they've never met. The MPs don't know what's going on. The governor does not know what's going on in certain county assemblies. If this bill, that, for example, was not to pass, it's basically going to create a situation where you will have, again, duplication of allocation of resources.
All right, gentlemen, our time is up, but as we wind up, our viewers have been watching this, and of course the aim of this discussion was to just shed that light, to have the pros, the cons, the both sides of the question. Your closing remarks on really this bill, and we don't know what will happen in coming days, especially we know the move to have the women reps as the deputy chairs or the vice chairs of these boards has also been seen as an interesting way of getting support from the National Assembly. Some of the analysts have looked at it that way. But your closing remarks on this, you are against it, you think it is unconstitutional, and you hold that position.
Yes, I would say that I'm still positive that the Senate would rise above, look at it, and reject that bill. It is a dangerous chalice that will bring in confusion and breach of the Constitution. Let each organ, let each house, let each member of parliament play his or her role. If it is oversight, oversight is not direct supervision. You allocate, you wait for the work to be done, you check. But when you want to check when it is being done, then it is no longer oversight. And we would urge the senators to let the governors work and let that bill die its own natural death. Otherwise, it will force us, if it was passed, it will force us to go against the senators for breaching the Constitution.
Are you saying it's being passed?
They can pass it because they are it's a challenge. They are prepared to get some more powers. If they pass it, they would have breached the Constitution. And we will use the Constitution to have them removed.
Okay.
Okay.
Senator, your closing remarks.
Basically, I think we are in the initial stage of Senate exercising its work and counties doing their work. We have a lot of collaborative efforts. Sometimes in protecting counties, we may make legislations that may not be very beautiful and likable by the counties, and especially county governors. But in most cases, there are many things that we are doing together. Let's take, for example, we are working on now the appeals from the allocation of resources, functions and so forth. I think when we carry out this debate, because people have different opinions about anything that somebody brings forward, I urge people to be more sober, to be more, not take it so personal. Let's be, exercise some level of decorum. Let's build a consensus going forward. If our brothers who are governors were to carry out this systemic abuse of any institution that does not support them, then when they need also support, it will not be a very good relationship. So the debate, we welcome any views that people have, convergent views.
Yes.
There will be a public forum next week where the whole stakeholders will come together and they will listen to all those issues. I think the chair of governors, my friend Isaac, was even asking that we meet on Thursday, and I think he had only one amendment, that maybe the governor should be the chair and the others will be
so that is something you said you're okay with.
Everything in a bill, in any bill, anything can be changed based on additional information that comes to the public. But the thing that we, at the very minimum, we need to create a forum where together we speak on the table to ourselves, but not across the table and not shouting at each other. We want to assist the counties to work. The only way we can assist our counties to work is to avoid situation where the legislators are going to gang up and all the time mobilize people, because these counties are in the infant stage. If we allow them to be harassed and politically mobilizing people to come and protest, it will be very nice.
It will not be very nice. Kipchumba Murkomen, Senator Elgeyo Marakwet, and Ambrose Osweda, lawyer. Thank you very much both for coming in, talking about this, shedding light, very important subject as we're getting into this devolved system of governance. Of course, Kenyans need to have an understanding of when there's such a debate in the public, what are the pros, what way, what should we support, and if we're supporting a certain agenda, what is it, what's in for us? So you argue it will, in essence, bring the leaders together for better work. You say the senators are looking for some power, some money to be able to control. We'll see what happens in coming days. Of course, a developing story that we'll be following very closely. Remember our question of the day, we are asking you, do you support that push to give more powers to the senators that of course in the management of counties? Let us know what your thoughts are. You've had the discussion this morning. You're in a better place. You've understood the arguments for and against this particular bill. Let us know what your thoughts are.